Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we are going to be going over the good and the bad in the new game coming out soon, Nioh 3. So before we start, I want to give you my exact angle on this. I completed Nioh 2 quite recently, so the memories are fresh. The muscle memory is fresh, and the comparisons are impossible to ignore. And that leads into my first honest point. The moment I started Nioh 3, I instantly felt like I was playing Nioh 2 with extra features. No joke, and that feeling stayed with me for most of the early game. Now I want to be clear. Nioh 2 is not a bad game. I enjoyed it a lot. I put time into it. I learned the systems. I learned the weapons. I learned the bosses. So if you love Nioh 2, then you might actually like this. But if you are expecting a big fresh leap forward, then you need to hear this first, because there is a lot reused in this game from the previous game. And if you are thinking about paying full day one price, that matters. It is not about hating on the game. It is about knowing what you are buying. So let's break this down properly. I'm going to go through the bad first, then I'm going to go through the good, then I'm going to tell you exactly who I think this game is for. Now let's talk about the bad. The first bad thing is the early impression. The map design at the start feels the same. The layout feels the same. The way you move through the start area feels the same. The way the path loops and opens feels the same. And because I played Nioh 2 recently, I could feel it straight away. Then you open the menus, and it feels familiar. The menu layout feels like Nioh 2. The skill trees feel like Nioh 2. The way the UI is arranged feels like Nioh 2. The way the stats are presented feels like Nioh 2. And even the general vibe of how you manage your character feels the same. Then you start seeing Yakai, and this is where my disappointment really kicked in. A lot of Yakai early on look like they're straight from Nioh 2. The animations feel familiar. The body shapes feel familiar. The way they behave feels familiar. Even some models look like the ones they used from Nioh 2, now again. That does not automatically mean it is bad. Reuse can be a good thing when the foundation is strong, but it does mean the early game lacks surprise. And for me personally, the early game is where I want that new game feeling the most. I want new threats. I want new shapes. I want new patterns to learn. And early on, I was not getting that. The second bad thing is that the core structure is basically Nioh 2 again. You have shrines that are like bonfires from Dark Souls. You go to the shrine, you level up, you manage your Yakai powers, you look at skill trees, you adjust your build, you restock and reset, and it all feels extremely familiar. The shrine upgrades and the way you progress your character is mostly the same. There are a few extras added on, but the core is still the core. So if you wanted a new system that changes how you play, it is not really doing that early on. It is more like adding new layers onto the same base. The third bad thing is the early enemies and the AI. Before you get to the first boss, the mobs are very easy to kill. They do not pressure you much. They do not punish you much. Their movement feels simple. Their attack choices feel predictable. And the AI could be better in how they attack and move. And I want to explain why that matters. In games like Nioh, even the basic enemies should teach you something. They should teach timing. They should teach spacing. They should teach stamina control. They should teach awareness. If the early enemies are too easy and too predictable, then you are not learning anything new. And the game starts to feel like you are just warming up for something that you already know. Then you hit the first boss, and the game flips. The first boss is nothing but a skill check. Its power is insanely high. You are dead in about 4 hits or so, and it has a lot of HP, so expect to die a lot here. This boss is the first real moment where the game says wake up, because the mobs before it are not preparing you for it, so the difficulty spike feels extreme. It feels like you go from cruising to getting deleted, and that can be frustrating if you're not expecting it. Now you can always summon help online. You can always bring in someone stronger. You can beat it with an overpowered buddy, and that is fine. I'm not judging anyone for doing that, but it is worth saying. If you play solo, then this boss will probably stop you for a while. So that is the early game issue for me. The mobs are too easy. Then the first boss hits like a truck, and because the start feels reused, it can be hard to stay excited while you push through that wall. Now after you beat the first boss, the game opens up more, and this is where the pace improves. You start exploring the map more freely. You start seeing more variety in the encounters. You start getting into the loop of moving, looting, fighting, and building your character up. But even then, you will still see Yakai you have seen before. You will see familiar silhouettes. You will see familiar moves. Sometimes they are reskinned. Sometimes they have new weapons. Sometimes they have a slightly different twist. But you will recognize a lot of what you are fighting, and I know some people will be fine with that. But for me, it still stands out, because Nioh 3 is meant to be the next step, not just the same step again. Now let's talk about another bad point. The game makes you feel extremely strong in normal fights. And that sounds like a good thing, but it creates a weird balance, because the moment you hit bosses, the difficulty spikes dramatically again, within about 10 minutes after the first boss. I was deleting packs of Yakai really fast. I was killing groups in seconds. I was spinning in a circle and wiping them out. I was using a hoe and it honestly felt silly how quick everything died. So for normal mobs, the game feels easier than Nioh 2 for me. But then the bosses come in and remind you who is in charge, and that back and forth can feel inconsistent. It can feel like the game is not sure whether it wants you to be a monster or a victim. Now let's move into weapons and loot, because this is another area where it feels reused. A lot of the weapons feel like the same selection from Nioh 2. There are a few more added in, but the core weapon types feel familiar. The stats layout on weapons looks the same. The way you compare loot looks the same. The way bonuses roll and stack feels the same. And if you love Nioh 2 loot, that is not a problem. But if you're tired of constantly swapping gear and reading tiny stat lines, then it is going to feel like more of the same. And it is not just weapons. You have the same kind of collectibles. You have the cat collectibles again. You have little yokai collectibles again. You have chests placed around the map in familiar ways. You have mini bosses that feel like they are set up in familiar spots. And a lot of it feels like the same structure as Nioh 2. So those are the main bad points for me. Reuse, familiar structure, easy mobs. Big boss spikes, and a lot of systems that feel copied across with only small changes. Now let's talk about the good, because there are good parts, and the biggest good part is the combat feel. Nioh combat is still Nioh combat. It is fast, it is sharp, it is responsive, it feels good to move, it feels good to attack, it feels good to dodge, it feels good to punish openings, and when you get in the flow it feels amazing. Even if the content feels reused, the combat is still satisfying. And if you are the kind of player who plays these games for the fight itself, you are going to enjoy that. The second good thing is the polish. The game looks nice. I would not say it is a massive graphical jump, but it feels smoother. It feels more polished. It feels like a refined version of Nioh 2. The lighting feels a bit cleaner. The overall presentation feels slightly more modern, and the game just feels like it runs well. And for me on PC, I had no performance issues at 4K. That is a huge plus, because games like this need stable performance. You need smooth response. You need clean frames, and if it runs well, then the combat feels even better. The third good thing is that once the game opens up, it becomes more fun to explore. After the first boss, you get more freedom. You can take different routes. You can look around more. You can engage enemies on your terms, and that alone made the game feel better than the very first hour. The fourth good thing is that the familiarity can actually help some people. If you love Nioh 2 and you want to jump in and instantly understand everything, this game lets you do that. You will understand shrines, you will understand loot, you will understand builds, you will understand how progression works, and you will feel at home. So in a weird way, the same thing that disappointed me early on might be the same thing that makes other people happy, because not everyone wants a total change. Some people just want more of what they already love. Now let's do a quick summary in plain terms. Nioh 3 feels like Nioh 2 with added features and improvements, but it also feels like it reuses a lot of content, especially early on. The mobs feel easy, the bosses hit hard, the game looks nice but not massively different, the combat feels great, the performance is solid. The systems are mostly familiar, and the overall structure feels like Nioh 2 again. So here is my honest recommendation. If you liked the last game Nioh 2, it's pretty much the same with added features. If you don't, well, maybe it's not for you. And if you are on the fence about day one price, you might want to wait and see more, because if you want a totally new experience, the reuse might bother you. But if you want more Nioh combat with some extra layers, you're probably going to enjoy it. Now before I end, let me know in the comments what you want me to cover next. I can do a beginner guide, I can do a build guide, I can do tips for the first boss, I can do the best early weapons, or I can do a full breakdown of what feels new and what feels reused. And if you like this video, hit that like and subscribe for more videos like this. Thanks for watching. See you on the next one.